Alright guys, we're back in the workshop, and now what we're going to be doing is building a spray booth to do all of our painting, sanding, sealer, clear coats, any stuff like that we need to do. So first we're going to start off with measuring the dimensions of my garage, or at least measuring the stuff the spray booth is going to need to be in, and also finding a place to hang the guitar so that I can spray it and not have it touching anything. I'll probably just use either like wire or maybe put a dowel inside the thing and hang it from there, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, we'll see what we need to do. So I'm going to start measuring that, and then I'll get back to you guys when we're ready to put it up. Alright, we're going to start putting this spray booth up. I got 4 9x12 sheets of drop cloth. And then I've got 1 10x20, and that 10x20 is going to be the door that I use to overlap on the front side. It's going to be here, not through the garage door, but the front side. And that's going to be my door so that I can walk in. It's convenient. It's right next to my garage door, which is right there, and then my workshop, the workbench, which is right over there. So we're going to start putting this thing up, and we'll get back when we're done. Alrighty, so we've got the spray booth set up. I only ended up using the 9x12 sheets because I thought I was going to have to use this one for the overlay, but got myself a nice little door here. I use the clearest one on the outside, just so that it's easier for you guys to see what's going on when I'm spraying, because obviously I can't take my phone into the spray booth. So I was going to try and get to sanding sealer tonight, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to do that because it's pretty late. I think it's like 9 or 10 at this point. So we're going to start on sanding sealer tomorrow, hopefully get all those coats done, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the painting. Alright, so we're in the spray booth. I've got my mask ready. I ended up wrapping my phone in saran wrap so that it wouldn't get dirty when I started painting, so that you guys can see what's going on in here. So basically I've got this thing hanging from a wire that goes over this garage door opener track up top, and then there's a dowel right here on the top tuning peg hole that goes across, and I've wrapped the wire around so that nothing is coming in contact with the wood that we're going to be painting. Now, like I said before, right now we're just doing sanding sealer, and hopefully we can get that all done today. It'll only take about 2 or 3 coats. But I've just been looking over this, making sure it's dust free and everything like that. I'll take one more run with the shop vac and take all the dust off this thing, all that out of all the cavities and stuff. Alright guys, we're back at the workbench, and what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be taking some of this sanding sealer off, smoothing it down to a 1200 grit finish. 1000 is fine. I just like to go a little bit smoother, be on the safe side. So what we're gonna do is I've got a 400 grit on my sanding block here. So we're gonna start with that. I've already done a little bit just to see how it looks. It's a very messy job. You get a lot of dust everywhere, and I really don't want to inhale it. So I've actually got a mask here that I'm going to be using for the rest of this, and also painting. So that's very important to know. I didn't have a proper mask when I was doing the sanding sealer spraying, and it gets in your lungs very quickly. So you want to have like a respirator or some sort of full face mask that'll cover your nose and mouth, so you won't get any of that bad stuff in your lungs. So I'm going to be wearing it for this as well, and probably for the rest of the sanding, at least the dry sanding. The wet sanding won't be an issue. But like I said, we're going to start taking this stuff off. I'll get working on it, and I'll see you guys when we're ready to paint. Alright, so we're ready to go. We've got this thing prepped and ready. All the stuff's been sanded down to an 800 grit finish, which really, I said I was going to go to 120, but I talked to Stephen McSwain about this, and he said you only really need to go up to 400. So even 800 is a little bit of a high mark, but that's fine. So what we're going to do now is we've got the vintage amber, and we're going to do a base coat of this over the entire body. I got this stuff off of stumac.com. It's where I got my sanding sealer, all my like clear gloss, all my finishing stuff, and my polishing stuff. So yeah, color tone professional finishes, not sponsored, although I'll take it. Yeah, basically we got all the holes plugged, everything's still taped up real good. So we're gonna take this and we're just gonna spray it over the entire body. Alright, so we're in the painting tent again, and what we're going to be doing now is spraying a brown finish along the edges of this guitar. Now what I've done to keep me from trying to freehand this and possibly getting stuff splattered up in there is I've taped down covers over the actual thing. So all it's going to spray is that surface right there, that exposed edge. And in addition to that, it's not going to have a quite hard line because there's just a little bit of space in between there that it can seep into, but not enough that it'll ruin the paint. So I've got a respirator on. We're going to get this ready to go and start spraying. Alright guys, so this is it's a very nerve-wracking part of the painting, for me at least. And this is the part where I spray on the burst part of it. Now what I've done is, before this, I was practicing doing it freehand, and this isn't one of the things that I use, but basically what I would do is just cut out a bunch of these out of like construction paper or something, and then just practice the motion and do that. But I found a thing online, and I talked to, again, Mr. McSwain, and what he said was that, and he sort of confirmed my ideas, is that what you can do is cut out like a template, kind of like this, but in the actual shape, and then draw a line 1 inch in from the entire body, and then cut that out, and that leaves me with this. This is the template that I'm going to be using, and this is what happens when you cut in 1 inch from the original shape of the guitar. Now what I've done is I put nails on here, and don't worry, it won't scratch the finish as long as you lay them down lightly. Be careful with it. It gives you a spacer so that this will sit up off of the guitar, and it won't give you a hard edge when you're spraying it, because any spray could go underneath there, but it's not going to. It's going to allow you to be a little bit more generous with it while still having a soft edge, but while still keeping the shape that you want. So, like I said, this is very nerve-wracking for me, and it's gonna be difficult, but I think it'll be fine. I've got the guitar set up over there. This is the same day that I'm doing the amber and side coats. I decided to do a little bit more so I'd have more time later on to sand and buff and put clear coats on and stuff like that. So I'm gonna do that, and hopefully it'll turn out well. So we'll get to it. Alright guys, so the burst, at least the brown part of it, is done. We have the front, which actually came out very well, a lot better than I expected, and the back, which honestly I think looks a little bit better just because the color transition isn't so like kind of weird, and this isn't as yellow. But what we're gonna do now is also I got the neck faded in there, so I think the back actually looks very good in my opinion. I think it looks a lot better than I thought it was gonna do. So this is the front, and what we're gonna do now is those templates that I was talking about. These ones that you put the nails into and then set it up off of it. What I'm gonna do now for the red part of the burst that blends the brown into the yellow is you take that same one, you take this, well, this isn't the one, but you take the template you used for the first one and cut it in another 1/4 of an inch. So this is the template that I used for this with another 1/4 inch taken off of the outside edge. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give me just a nice little area, and it's gonna give me just a tiny little margin that red will go into that'll blend that brown and yellow together. So actually I put the nails, I should put the nails on the wrong side. So we're gonna flip these nails around and then we're gonna get to painting. Alrighty, so this is the setup I've got right now. I wasn't able to get footage of the spray painting of the brown edge. Mostly just because I couldn't figure out a way to hang the camera in here so that it would point at the ground. But I got a new tripod set up, pointing at the ground so you guys can see what's going on. Like I said, basically laying this guitar on the ground with the neck off the ground so it doesn't mess up anything. And then this laying about an inch and a half off the body. And like I said, that'll give us a nice soft edge. This is exactly what I did for the outer burst. So today we're gonna be doing the red mahogany, and that's just gonna blend that brown and that yellow together. All right, what we're gonna be doing now is we're back in the tent, and we have the final coat, or I guess the final layer of this, which is the clear gloss. Now I'm basically gonna put as much of this stuff on as I have. This can's a little empty because I was testing it out and stuff. So basically, I'm gonna spray this and just go across like that. It's a vertical fan that sprays like that. So we're just gonna put a few coats on, and I guess keep going until I run out. So let's get going. Alright, so I've had a lot of my time on my hands, and I'll tell you why. What happened was I ran out of clear lacquer about a week and a half ago, and I ordered more, obviously, because I need to clear coat my guitar. And the guys at StuMac, where I ordered it from, said, oh, it'll be there by like Wednesday, Tuesday, it'll be fine, it's about as fast as we can get it there. And I was stoked, because, there's not much I can really do about that, but the sooner the better. But I got to Wednesday, and I looked at the tracking number and it said it'll be here by Friday, which was like the high end of the 2 to 5 day shipping. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I get to Friday, and it says that it's been delayed another 3 days until Monday. So I have done nothing on my guitar for about a week and a half, other than routing out the headstock for a guitar pick that I'm going to inlay into it. And that was done by Mr. Stephen McSwain. And this is the other part of the video that I want to address. I've never introduced Mr. Stephen McSwain before on this channel. And I have mentioned his name before, but I don't think I ever formally introduced you guys to what he was helping me with. I think I left a light on. One sec. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, I just left a light on in the spray booth. Anyway, where was I? Mr. Stephen McSwain. I never introduced who he was, so I'm gonna do that now, because I know I've said his name before. Mr. McSwain runs McSwain Guitars out of Portland, Oregon, and he is my subject expert for this project. I needed a subject expert for my senior project because it was part of the thing that my school required. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, it'd be really cool if you could help me along with this project. I really like the stuff you make, and it would be cool if you could help me. And he said, absolutely, I'd love to do it. So I've been talking to him about every other day, for the times that I've been able to work on my project. And like I said just earlier, he helped me route out the pick, my headstock, and you guys will see that. I think the next clip will probably be the video of him routing out the picks. Alright guys, so I've put about 3 cans of lacquer on this thing, and this is going to be the last coat. It's looking really nice, it's looking really shiny, so we're just going to throw this last coat on, and I'll get back to you when it is dried and ready to sand. Alright guys, so the lacquer is done drying, and what we're going to be doing now, we're going to get into the sanding. So we're going to go from about 800 grit up to 3,000. So let's get started. There you go, now you're tracking the right boy. Alright, so it's been a while since, well not a while since I filmed. It's been about 3 hours. But I sanded all the stuff down to 1200 grit, to a 1200 grit finish. I went out and bought some wax and polishing compound. And then I polished, and I actually forgot to film the polishing, but I'll tell you guys exactly how I did it. And then I'll show you the guitar. So I started off with a guitar sanded to, like I said, about 2,500 is the mark that I was using, and the mark that I think Mr. Stephen McSwain uses. And you guys know him. But I use this Meguiar's Mirror Glaze heavy cut. The stuff that McSwain uses is actually ultra cut. But they didn't have that at the O'Reilly's I went to, and you can find this stuff at almost any auto retailer, not retailer, but any auto shop. And it's the same with this Meguiar's like Carnauba wax. I use the liquid wax. Leave that reflection off. Anyway, I used the liquid wax and it worked great. I'll leave a link to both of those in the description below. The other thing that I used was this little buffing wheel that I actually got off of stumac.com. I'll also leave a link to that in the description. It's interesting because I could only really afford one, so I went with, wow, my camera is tilting. Alrighty, well, that'll be fun for you guys. Anyway, my subject expert, Mr. Stephen McSwain, recommended this to me, and it's basically just this little buffing wheel that has a attachment on the back that you can put into a drill bit. And what it'll do is it'll give you this nice little little portable buffing wheel, and it works really well. I wouldn't recommend it for anything other than like a flat surface. I used it for the whole thing except for, well, I guess this is the time I'm going to show you the guitar. Anyway, this is how it turned out. Absolutely beautiful finish on it. It actually turned out much better than I thought it would. Headstock's really clean. I left the neck as a satin finish I just really like satin finish necks. I think they're easier to play on. But the only problem that I had was in this little area right here, because I only bought one wheel, and obviously this big old hunk of felt isn't going to, or sponge I guess, isn't going to get into that spot, so I just had to do that by hand. And hand polishing isn't that hard. It's just, you'd put about a nickel size of this Meguiar's stuff, or the wax, I guess, if you're at that stage, and you put it on the like a rag, and you just sort of do circular motions and just do swirls until it starts to shine up for you. So it's really nice. When I started, it was this sort of interesting, like sort of not quite rough, but definitely like dimpled texture. It's my dog. Anyway, it started off with this stuff that sort of was like dimply and felt a little rough. And now it's a really, really, really smooth, glossy finish. I actually really like how it turned out. So next step is going to be putting on all the like attachments, such as the tuners and the Bigsby that I bought. Wow, this is really falling. The next step is going to be putting the Bigsby on, and then the tuners, and then the bridge. So we'll get all that stuff on, and then we'll epoxy that pick into the headstock. And I'm sorry, I'm blindingly white right now, but that's fine. We'll epoxy the pick into the headstock, and then we'll be ready for soldering. So I'll get back to you guys when I start putting the all the attachments and hardware on.